Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. I'm your host, Adrian.
And I'm Zach.
And we have filling in for a sick Jeff.
Hi, it's Andrew, the hater.
Indeed.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah, so
Wednesday.
it's Wednesday, March
The 18th?
18th. Yes.
You're so good at dates.
You're listening to another Wednesday episode of the Mile High Game Guys, sponsored by Gray Fox Games. So,
Right. To quote Ant, our sponsoriest sponsor.
Indeed, they are. We'll start off here with what we've been playing, because this is a board gaming podcast, and we these days try to dive right into the board gaming before coming full circle back to the inane chatter, so that we hook people a little bit better with board game stuff.
Yeah, fair.
Just right before that, I just want to say Jeff is sick, but I'm assuming not coronavirus, so I think we're good there. But
We have no idea, really.
we have no idea. Could be a coarse sore throat or nope.
Budweiser diarrhea.
Mm,
Is that a thing? No.
I mean,
Anyway,
that's gross.
right as I said we were going to start with the board games
Yeah.
before inane chatter, we had a bunch of inane chatter, so sorry about that.
You're real good at that.
We always
Yeah.
have a little bit of a name chatter in the beginning.
A little bit.
Just context
taste.
stuff. Yeah. And then that comes back into full force
Later.
later.
So for what we've been playing, we here on the show have been playing our Friday play stream episodes, which you can check out on our Twitch, twitch.tv/MHGameGuys.
And eventually YouTube.
And eventually YouTube when
whenever-
they get moved over.
Yes.
But most recently, this past Friday, we streamed Trickerion with...
the Master of Illusions or whatever its subtitle is. I don't know.
the collector's edition is the one big fancy box of
Yep.
it. We were magicians doing tricksies. I like the references to things like they had the bullet catchers, so obviously a real trick, but then they had like the Vanishing Man, and like the artwork is very vaguely reminiscent of not the Illusionist, because that's the other magician
The
movie.
Prestige?
Prestige, yeah.
Nice.
Because those both came out around the same
They
time. And it was
did.
a case of Hollywood doing that, like, magicians are going to be real hot this season. Let's throw two of those
Oh, yeah.
movies out there.
Yeah, we were supposed to do Nemesis, and then Jeff got sick,
Yes.
and we were like, well, Jeff was the one pushing for Nemesis, so maybe we should wait so he can play it.
As much as I wanted to spite him. Because I
Yes.
know it's not like you guys are going to get me back by being like, hi, Adrian's not here, let's play 18XX.
Yeah.
That's never going to happen.
No.
So, but yeah, so we played a 4-player game. Rachel came on the show again. She had previously been on the Gallerist episode, and she knows the game. She probably played it the most of any of us. I think Ryan said he'd only played it once going in. I'd only played it once.
I
and
think
you hadn't
he
at all.
played it twice, I think. But yeah, I know she had played multiple times
Yeah.
with most of the correct rules, but there's a lot of rules in this game. So
And the rule book's not the best.
No, it is in fact not. I was gonna say the worst, but then there's like Robinson Crusoe.
Yeah,
so
there's
I was like, I know what the limit, I know what the base is, so it
Yeah.
didn't get that far.
But it was a fun game. We played with the Dark Alley expansion, which is included in the base game. And it just adds another little area where you can send your workers to get basically power-ups for the other actions. Took 7, played for 7 rounds because you played an extra 2 rounds with that expansion. Zach was able to swoop into first place right at the end in classic Zach first play of a game.
Beginner's luck, yeah. Especially if there are other new people playing. But then that was sort of, like you said, sort of your second play.
It was my second play. I played a full game before.
Okay, I didn't know if it was a full game or not.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah. It was a lot of fun. I liked it. It's definitely it's a game that's heavy, but once you start to understand how everything works together, it all makes more sense.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, you got to go here you have to buy the tricks, and you have to go get the stuff to prepare the tricks, and you actually have to prepare the tricks, then you have to set them up in the theater, and then you have to perform them, and making sure you do them all in the right time to not get screwed over by other people.
Yeah.
Is interesting. One of my favorite moments from there was just so you have your main character who's a worker, because this is a worker placement. I don't know if you actually said that or not.
I think I did, but maybe not. I don't know.
And then you have different apprentices who just do like one action. So your workers have different amount of actions they can do depending on what they do. Your main guy does 3, apprentices have 1, and then your assistants have 2, and they have special powers. But one of the special powers was you could basically have a free assistant who didn't cost you money at the end of each round, basically like an intern. And so I sent my assistant into the workshop to move him to not getting paid. And then I proceeded to use him to test run my bullet catch. Just like, okay, by the way, you're not getting paid anymore. And also, I need you to try and catch this bullet.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think my least favorite thing about the game is like the tricks have a lot of different like it's kind of a resource conversion game. Like you have to get the resources to do the tricks. And they give you, thankfully, like really handy player aid booklets that have all the tricks listed in them and all of their requirements, but it leads to a lot of this.
A lot of AT in terms
like
of
during the game, like I've got these two. Okay, so I've got 2 cloth and I've got a saw. What tricks could use those?
Now I just need a lady to saw
Exactly. Yeah.
And so there's that part of it does lead to a lot of AP where you're like, or you've got like 1 or 2 tricks and you're like, what third trick synergizes well with these? And you flip through and then it's like, okay, since every trick only exists one, there's only one version of it in the game. If Zach already has that trick, then I can't get it. So it's like you find the one you want and then it's like, does Andrew? No. Okay. Or
but
like,
it's hard.
Shit, he does. All right, let me find something else.
But it's hard to be like, for one that you're planning to get, be like, all right, I want to try and get this next round. Do you have this trick? No reason. Don't worry about why I'm asking, but do you have this one? Do you have this one? So
yeah.
There was a bit of that. And I do like, as much as it feels weird that once you get the resources to prepare the tricks, like once you get a saw, then you can prepare the trick that uses a saw or with wood or glass or anything that, like, and technically an unlimited amount of times it doesn't use the resources. You just have to have access to 2 saws or 3 wood or whatever. But once you do that, then you're good.
However,
yes.
ladies, once you saw them in half, you need a new one.
No, I mean, you just saw you just saw a lady in quarter.
Oh, okay.
And then 8ths and then 16ths.
The incredible disappearing woman.
Yeah.
There you go.
It just it links nicely into that next trick.
It does.
So, but yes, that's what we played on Friday. Zach, like I said, swooped in for the win. So we didn't really congratulate you much because it was way late and I still had to work.
Because you weren't expecting it to last 3.5 hours.
Yeah, it was
so.
a long game.
I think we could have gotten it under 3 hours if we were just like focused on the game. But I think we were all having a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
like shooting the shit while we were playing
right.
and making fun of Ryan and then trying to make fun of someone else, but then that turns into making fun of Ryan again. And
I'm sensing a theme.
And then Rachel started making fun of Ryan and we're like, yeah, that's what we
Rachel's like, oh, so that's what we do here is we make fun of Ryan, right?
Yes.
Yep. Perfect. So he'll never want to come back on the show.
No, but it was definitely enjoyable. I would have to play it again now knowing the game to see, because I know some people on our Slack were like, I like the game, but it doesn't have an interesting enough puzzle to keep playing. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious to see if playing it again, if I will feel that at all. Because that's usually what gets me from stopping a lot, going more than a couple games into a lot of heavier Euros, like Vital's games and stuff like that, where I'm just not interested after I've quote unquote learned it.
Yes.
Then I'm like, I don't feel like playing that anymore. But I'm also curious to try the expansions because I know that his collector's edition had at least 2 more in there, I think.
At least.
So I'm curious to see what those add.
Yeah. So that was Trickerion that we streamed on Twitch on Friday. Be sure to catch us streaming games every Friday over on Twitch. So
yes.
Andrew, what about you? You're the guest on the show here today. What have you been playing lately?
I've been being very thematic. I've played 2 games of Pandemic recently.
Regular Pandemic?
Pandemic, yep.
Okay.
Base Pandemic.
Any expansions or
nope,
just base?
Just base Pandemic. I've finally gotten my wife to start playing board games with me on a regular basis, and that's one she already knows and she likes, and it's very thematic. We had some friends. We had some friends over on Friday night, and just for dinner, and then we're like, well, we could play this as well if you want, and they were like, 2 people who had never played it before and had heard about it, but we're not board gamers. So we taught it to them. We just, I tried to not quarterback. I try to give options,
right?
But
it can be tricky.
Yeah, it can be tricky. The woman that was playing the medic didn't have the best sense of the
what's
strength.
important in the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So and then at the end, we were 4 turns from the end of the game, because of running out of the deck, and there was only one way to do it to get all the cards. And I'm sorry, guys. Here's this is the next 4 turns of the game. This is the only way for us to win is, for these 2 people to get to these 2 cities and the researcher or the scientist to like swing through and catch them. And yeah, so we, it was still good. We won on the very last turn.
Nice.
So yeah,
That's always a good feeling.
yes, it is.
But she's still enjoying it?
Oh yeah,
Good.
She's liking it. We've also been playing some Harry Potter too. She's like, I
Nice.
think, especially cooperative games, she's really getting into.
Oh, yeah,
So,
no, I think that really helps
yeah,
people who are sort of like, hesitant around them.
Right.
Is that, but like,
Yeah.
no, we're working together, except for you, the couple of people that are like, co-op games are garbage.
yes, yeah.
Yeah. I think they work really well for couples too.
Yes.
Like,
Oh,
who
definitely.
both, if one of them isn't as interested in gaming but still
Yep.
wants to do something, it's like, hey, we're doing this thing together. Like,
Right.
and you can do it in your house. And
We won together, and yeah.
Yes.
And then
Yep.
it helps if you can find one with a theme like Harry Potter. Like I don't know
Yes.
about
Oh.
your wife if she loves Harry Potter as much as
Absolutely.
Megan, but
Yes.
like, now granted, I don't have to try to get Megan like it. For me, it's not like a hey Megan, you don't normally like board games. Maybe
Right.
like Megan loves all games, but
Yeah.
something like Harry Potter comes along that we can play together and everything, and it's
We
just
have-
bonus points.
We have listened to both the British and the American audiobooks multiple times, like the whole series. So
Yeah.
we're both big Harry Potter fans. But,
Nice.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Megan made me name the Wi-Fi, like so I have the mesh router, the Eero. The one up in our bedroom is called Room of Requirement. Is like the name on the little mesh router
Nice.
network. So, cool. Anything
Yeah.
else you've been playing?
Yeah, just last night I got together with some friends of the show, Paul, Allison, Eric. I don't know if Eric's been on.
No.
but,
He has not.
But
Ligo
Yeah.
would make us all feel way too stupid if we let him on this show.
so we played Aliens
Legendary
Encounter. Thank you, Aliens.
Legendary Encounters, Alien.
Yeah. We had I hadn't played that in about 3 years. I'd played it once and then and it's been a long time. So it was not quite a new game, but it was almost a new game. And we won. I had 1 health point left at the end, but
Nice. Which
but,
movie?
yeah. I think just the first one.
Okay. Because they all play either fairly to very differently, depending on, because they each have different just things, like cards have different wording on them, different text on them. Keywords, that's the word I was looking for specifically. And then so the first one's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Did anybody get a chest burster?
No, we did have to sort of retcon. Oh, we forgot about that, so we won't kill this alien in order to kill the facehugger. But I was the only female character, and Allison was a little bit upset about this is a famously feminist a bunch of women kicking ass movie, and there's only 1 female character being played right here.
I mean, because that's part of the thing is that you guys aren't any of the crew. You're like
Right.
different people,
But-
but the crew. But it's
Right.
But I think of the entire group of playable, roles, I think
Right.
there's only 1 woman,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that might be true.
which is a little bit unfortunate.
Yes,
Yeah.
no, that's true. Yeah.
It's the original movie to pass the Bechdel test, the comic in which Alison Bechdel created the Bechdel test. The final joke is boy, that's a really strict requirement, and the other person says, yeah, I haven't been able to see a movie since Alien.
Wait, Alien has?
Yeah, it has. Okay, I mean, obviously it has Ripley, and it has the other command officer, the talking person. I don't fucking communicator.
Mother, the ship?
No. There's
Oh.
another communicator.
Navigation?
Yeah, navigations. Yeah, I forget her name in it.
Right.
But there's another woman in
Oh,
there.
okay.
So
And they're talking about aliens instead of
Yes.
men, so it
Okay.
counts. Yeah. But yeah, that's the original movie to pass the Bechdel test. So
Okay.
but then after that successful victory, we played cribbage. Paul and I beat Allison and Eric. That's always a rare event. Allison's real good and real lucky.
I smoked her so bad on
yeah.
Christmas when she was over here. It was glorious. It was on Zach's board with a new deck of cards somebody
Nice.
brought me.
But
I
then,
really like that board, but god damn it, I keep losing so bad on it. Oh my god.
but then we played an interesting new trivia game called Half Truth from Ken Jennings is the one guy. I'm not going to remember the other guy's name. More of a normal board game guy. But it asks a trivia question, and it gives you 6 options, and 3 of those options are correct, and 3 of them are incorrect. Like, which of these are books that Tom Clancy has written?
Richard Garfield is the other designer.
Richard Garfield.
Oh, okay,
Yeah. I knew it was a
King
big
of Tokyo,
name.
Magic Gathering,
Yeah.
Netrunner. Yeah.
Done a lot of stuff.
Yeah. But you can try and, you can only answer one if you want, or you can answer, like, if you know all 3, you can try and get all 3 and you get more points for that. Allison kept up with me for a little bit and then started playing a little bit more recklessly. And so by the end, I had a pretty dominant victory.
Nice.
It's a trivia game, so I was almost certainly going to win anyway. But yeah, it was enjoyable. So yeah.
Nice. I might have to give that a try. I vaguely like trivia games. The problem is that, like, I think I'm pretty good at trivia for the general population. I am not very good at trivia for my overall friend group.
Right, sure.
So
Gotcha, yeah.
that hurts.
Yeah.
And it's still, for trivia games, it's still, if you just know more about it than other people, you're at an inherent advantage. That's why I still want to play Wits and Wagers that I still haven't played.
Yeah.
Because you can bet on the people that you think will know right, and you can end up winning big because of it. So
I would like to play that, but I have a feeling everybody's going to just bet for me to get it right
depends on
every
what
time.
the question is.
Yeah. So yeah, I enjoyed that a bit. I'd play it again. There was a wide variety of, questions that like you would, I think, have an easy time with which of these NFL teams have a human in their logo and which don't.
Maybe.
Yeah.
If there was a list of them,
right?
then
If you had 6 and 3 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I had to be like name
them all,
name the 6 teams with humans in there, I'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd probably do okay with the Tom Clancy ones. Only I
Right.
haven't kept up with any of the stuff that still has his name on it.
Right.
Even though
I don't think any of the 3 answers on that one were those, but yeah.
I used to really like Tom Clancy. He definitely influenced my decision to join the Navy, and then especially to go into submarines.
So
That makes a lot of sense.
you hate him, or
No, I recognize the influence that he had on a young Adrian, even if I don't think that influence would work on an older, more world-weary Adrian.
Yeah.
So, cool. Anything else you got to play?
I think that is all that I'm remembering at the moment.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I wasn't on the show last week, and so I can't remember where we were at game night 2 weeks ago that I didn't get to talk about. D-Bolt. I know I played something at D-Bolt, but I definitely don't remember what it is. So anyway,
I remember, but I don't want to hear you talk about it. So
I played Age of
There you
Steam.
go.
Thank you, Zach. That was the triggering answer. Yes, so I played
You're
Age of Steam for the first time in a very long time. First time since the very first time I went and hung out with Edward and everybody from Heavy Cardboard. I played up there. It was my first game, 3-player game. I won that one, and I feel like that was what earned me Heavy Cardboard cred, is that I rolled in there my first ever game day with them and beat them at Age of Steam on my first play.
Yeah.
Didn't play it ever again until 2 weeks ago at game night.
with the new version.
And it was the new Capstone Games edition with the art from Ian O'Toole. It took a little while. I played with Rachel and Sean and Chris Evans, and there was a little bit of learning.
A little while.
It was only 2.5 hours.
It felt like you were there for 3.5.
Yeah, that's just because every time you looked over there and you sensed that it was a vague train game, you locked up, and it even though it was only a second of a glance at it, for you it felt like a 20-minute experience looking.
Yeah. It was like in was it? Never mind. Just keep going. Just blanking on names today, apparently.
Anyway,
so
we played the base map, the Rust Belt map, and it went pretty well. It was a week and a half ago, and I already kind of let a lot of the details slip, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. I think I won, but I don't remember for sure. If I didn't, I can't. No, Chris Evans barely beat me, but I thought I was out because I made a very crucial error early. I don't remember what the error was, but it was one where it was like, oh no, I am fucked. And what ultimately killed me is to stay in the game, I had to put out so many shares, and at the end of the game, you get negative points for your shares, negative 2 points per share. And Chris had put out 7 shares less than me, so right there, I lost 14 points relative to him, and that's really what crippled me in that game. If I'd only had a couple shares less that I had paid out, I'd have been fine, but did not work out that way. So it was a lot of fun, though, and I definitely want to play it more, and especially on some of the other maps.
how many maps are there?
I think there's 4
on the new version, or
there's at least 2 in the new version. I think 4. I think it's 2 double-sided boards, and then there's 2 add-on packs that I think are additional double-sided boards.
Who had this? Chris
Evans, yeah. Captain America himself. So that was like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. This most recent Wednesday, we were at Strange again, and initially Zach and I were planning on playing Nemesis, but then Jeff was sick and didn't come, and then we couldn't really find anybody else we wanted to play with.
Because we had heard that playing with 4 is the best, and we just had 2, so we're like, I'll just teach it to him.
There were a couple more than 2, but they were not 4 people we wanted to play with.
Correct. Yes.
At that time. Some people did show up later, but it was too late. So anyway, so Zach and I sat down, and he kind of like pulled it out and walked me through it. And there was a woman who I think works at the brewery who was like doing business work on her laptop on the table next to us, and she kept like looking over and being like, "What is going on here?" And I was like, of all the games to make the gamers look the nerdiest, Nemesis definitely qualifies.
Yeah.
But so we kind of walked through that, and then kind of bummed around. It was a much slower game night, even by the relatively slow recent standards. And so I was having trouble finding anything to play, but there were 2 new people, and then Megan came from the hospital after she got off work and stopped by. And so I grabbed Aunt and Julie and the 2 new people and Megan, and we got a game of Wavelength going.
Nice.
I hadn't played Wavelength in, I don't know, a month or so, 2 months. So it was fun to get playing again. We stuck the new people on opposite teams. So it was like, all right, each of you unfortunately is going to be alone on a team with no group context, but hopefully it will kind of balance out. And so like one of the ones that came up was on a scale of fancy to not fancy, Nick Andrasik's black tie grilled cheese. Only I think they didn't even say like Nick Andras. They were just like, okay, black tie grilled cheese fest. Yeah. And so they were like, oh, that's got to be like really fancy, right? It's a black tie event. Like, it was like, but it's also a grilled cheese event. And it was like, where on there? And then I was like, I don't even know where I'd put it on there. Like on the one hand, like some people go all out and go black tie, and like Nick puts a lot of work into it. But on the other hand,
I would, because
it's a house party,
and it's not required to be dressed out.
No.
So I would put it at like 65%. That's where I would put towards fancy. As in, like, there is a fancy element.
More fancy than not fancy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but it's not like if you black tie whatever party. If you just said that normally, it would be like 85, 90. But this one is like grilled cheese.
95. Like,
yeah. Black tie is pretty fancy.
Yeah. They say white tie, then that's the fancy part. You got to wear the tails, man.
Victorian gown.
Exactly.
I once went to a white tie wedding without having been informed. It was white tie, and Rebecca hadn't, like, it was not on the invitation. It was assumed that you knew. Yeah, it was unpleasant. We were the only people in the church that had missed that memo.
Did you get a lot of sideways glances and hushed?
Yeah, this was the South, yes.
Yes,
we did.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
This was the
South, yes. I
Mobile, Alabama.
I figured as much.
The masters of the sideways glance.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are the two games I played.
Yeah, the Southern fuck you.
Oh man, yeah. Rude, Andrew.
Yeah.
We invite you on the show and you treat us like that. But yeah, those are the 2 games I played. So Zach, what about you?
So on that day, after that I played Cribbage, and once, like I said, I got destroyed. I barely lost the first game, and then I really lost the second game.
Have you ever won a game on your board?
I've won 1 or 2 games on that, and I think one of them was just a solo 2-player. One of them was a solo 3-player, and then one of them was a
solo.
team.
You mean one person on the team?
Yes.
Okay. You're not playing Cribbage against yourself.
Look, how else am I going to win, man? Because then I can never lose if I'm the one holding all the cards.
But also, you can never win.
Always lose.
But then I also played Parade.
Okay.
Have you ever played? Either of you ever played it?
No.
So it's themed around Alice in Wonderland. But basically, what it is that you have it's a card game where you don't want to get the cards because they're negative points.
Some of my favorite kind of card games.
Yes, and you have a hand of, I want to say it was 4 or 5 cards, but you have a row of cards that's basically sort of supposed to be like a parade. And you place a card out. You draw a card, and then from your hand you place one out.
Mm-hmm.
The card, there are 5 or 6 different suits, and the cards go from 0 to 10. When you play a card out, you basically check the parade. So you play it at the right, the end, and then you check the other cards. The number that you've played signifies how many cards in front of you are safe because that you don't have to worry about taking. But then any card after that, so say you played a 3 black, then and there are 4 cards. The first 3 are fine no matter what they are. But then that 4th one, if it is the same suit or it is a number that is that many or the same number as yours or less, you have to take it. So if you're playing 10s, this is great because then you can have a long parade before, without having to take stuff. But then eventually you're going to have to be like, my only cards are like this 3 of gold, and you play it and you end up taking like, a couple 1s and 2s that were played earlier, right, and then like some gold. So you can end up taking a bunch of cards if you're not playing it right. So then obviously you want the person in front of you to play a card that takes the stuff that you were about to take. And you're like, sweet, I don't have to take anything. But one thing that is nice is at the end of the game, you count up your cards, and then, whatever the value is how many negative points you have. Except if you have the most of a suit, then you just flip them over, and then they only count 1 point each.
Okay.
So if you're like, well, I took this fucking 10 and 8 of black, I just need to start getting black, so then I can flip them over, and they're only worth 1 point each.
Okay.
And so you do keep the game ends when you only have 4 cards left in your hand. So once the deck is empty, then everybody plays one more round, but then they don't draw. And then you choose 2 of the cards in your hand to keep and 2 to get away. And the 2 that you play go into your pile. So even if, like, say you had 3 reds and I had 2 reds, if I had 2 reds in my hand that I played, that would bring me to 4, and then I would have majority over you. So it was a lot of fun. I liked it. Yeah. There's definitely a lot of thinking of like, if I play this card, I'm going to get fucked. If I play this card, I'm going to get it fucked. And if I play this card, and you're just sort of holding them. And then like the zeros are nice because if there isn't anything of your suit, you can play it, and then you're not going to get anything because nothing is a 0 or lower out there.
Right.
But if you're like, okay, this is my plan to do that, and then Adrian plays a 0 and you play it like a 1, but it's the same suit as my 0, it's like, oh fuck, now I got to start taking shit that I wasn't planning on doing before. So yeah, it's definitely a fun little game. I think you can play up to 5 or 6, I think, but we played it with 4 people, and it was enjoyable.
Nice.
Yeah.
That actually sounds pretty fun.
Yeah.
Watching the couple times I stopped by to watch you guys play, I was like, I can't figure out what's going on with this game, and I don't care enough to learn. But that description made me more interested.
No, it's definitely there. It's simple rules, but definitely a lot of like hard decisions you're making of just like, God, I just don't want to get any of these cards because it's that building tension of you're like, you have the big cards in your hand. You're like, oh, I'm gonna play this. I don't have to take anything. I'm gonna play this. I don't have to take anything. Oh, well, no, I don't. It's 15 long, and I'm gonna have to start taking stuff no matter what I do, and then making sure that you're planning for those suits that you're trying to get. And you're like, oh man, Adrian has 3 of each suit. I need to get more and at least 1 of him because I think I ended up getting majority in 2.
Okay.
That one person wasn't planning on. And so that's what I was able to win. I think I had like 22 points to Wes's like 29, and someone else had like 35 and 36.
Okay.
So yeah.
Cool.
So that one's pretty fun. Wavelength. And then our friend was having her cat's anniversary of being adopted because she didn't, especially
you have no idea what.
Yeah, especially because she was 10 years old, the cat, when she adopted him. So who knows even the cat is actually 10 years, but when it was born. So she decided to do.
I somehow missed at the start of that you said the cat. I thought you were like, my friend was celebrating her adoption of like 10 years. And I was like, I'm very confused.
No, sorry.
I have so many questions.
It's for a cat. So there were a bunch of
Frank
us.
the cat.
Frank the cat. But there were a bunch of us together, and she decided to pull out before we started watching random YouTube stuff. She decided to pull out. She's like half jokingly, but serious on doing it, of this game called Dick. So it's basically Cards Against Humanity, except all of the answers are just sentences or phrases from Moby Dick.
Okay.
That's all it is. And there's a bunch of. There wasn't a bunch of them. That there were definitely some vaguely, if not outright racist stuff. Because
it's Moby Dick.
Exactly, and a lot of gross stuff and things like that. But it's it's basically a question gets answered or gets asked, and then you answer them with the cards, and that's basically it.
It's the great American novel. It's got to be pretty darn full of racism.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, I'm sure.
But it's exactly what you would expect it to be.
Yeah.
And it's after one round we finished, and that was it. And that's what it is. I don't.
Okay.
Did you enjoy yourself?
I mean, I enjoyed it while we were playing. I enjoyed the company and laughing at stupid stuff, but the game itself is very much
right.
No.
Fucking Jeff jumped in chat. Yeah. As someone that just watched Wrath of Khan, I am aware of Moby Dick.
But yeah, that's pretty much what I've played.
Right on. Well, that wraps up what we've been playing. So we can knock out a little bit of banter here. And
scheduled banter.
Mid-show banter break.
I know. It makes it seem so authentic and off the cuff when I'm like, no, we're going to banter. But yeah. So fairly big news. It hasn't been announced really anywhere. I think I mentioned to you guys, and the show, since it airs on Wednesday, this will be, I guess it'll come out before it actually happens, but this is going to be the first Wednesday in like over 7 years without a Wednesday game night here in Denver.
Because technically there was the first Wednesday and then there was a break and then there was a second one, and then it's pretty much was weekly from there on.
Even not pretty much. It was
Christmases,
New Year's. I made it work.
Yes.
Blizzards. Like I got shit on so hard one time during one of our it's gonna be the bomb cyclone. Actually, it was about this time last year.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I posted like, hey, Wednesday game night's still going on. If you feel safe driving, come out. And people were like, you're gonna encourage people to drive in this weather and they're gonna crash and die. And then, like, on my drive to game night, there was no snow on the roads, and I didn't even need to go in four-wheel drive. And it was like, this is why I don't cancel for blizzards in Denver.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, but if it's bad enough, people can just stay home.
Exactly.
Right.
I do remember the one where it was, like, literally 13 inches or something like that.
Yeah.
When you picked me up from my apartment, because I started pulling my car out. I got halfway out, and I was like, okay, I can't get back in. Or I can't leave. Let me just park back up. And then it was stuck exactly where I left it. And I was like, fuck it. This is where it's going to be. Adrian, come pick me up.
I think, was that also the one where I stopped like 2 times on the way to game night to dig out random strangers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
I regularly do that driving around in the 4Runner in the winter. It's like, you're stuck.
Yeah.
Let me help. I carry a good shovel, and I've got a good tow strap, and
you're a good human being.
And I'm a good human being. I try to be. It's debatable. I do good things like that to balance out all the other ways I'm a terrible human being.
There you go.
Fair.
So,
you're a mediocre human being.
Like having to have multiple people be like, hey, dude, you should maybe not do game night, for me to be like, should I do game night during an outbreak? But yeah, so we are gonna cancel for sure this week and probably next week, and then we'll just kind of play it by ear and see how all of this plays out. To be honest, I'm pretty much expecting that even if I was still gonna do it, I wouldn't be surprised if we end up being told we're not allowed to. Like just today, when we're recording on Sunday, Massachusetts said no gatherings over 25, which would include us.
I mean, Ireland has closed all its pubs.
Yeah,
like
it's getting serious. I didn't get to watch it because I was at work, and I forgot to go back and look, but that reminded me that there was a thing from, I think, Guinness that was like a St. Patty's Day, like, we know a thing or two, as Irish, we know a thing or two about hard times and sticking together.
Yeah.
We've been through worse, but I didn't get to watch it. Like, I could just tell from the post, but it was apparently from actual Guinness about like, hey guys, you can't go as crazy this year for St. Patty's Day.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's crazy shit. The governor ordered all the ski resorts here to close, which I get. Again, so many of these things I get, but at the same time, the skiing one frustrates me a little bit because it's like, when I go to the ski resorts, I'll be damned if I'm in within 8 feet of another person, except like twice the entire trip.
But I do remember some of those pictures they had of, at least in the beginning of the season, of like 1,000 people just waiting in a line.
I mean, that was like the best snow season of the snow day of the entire season.
Yes.
Right. I have a friend in one of my other group chats who has been like seriously arguing with his parents for like the last week and a half that they were planning on coming to Aspen, I think, this next weekend for like a big vacation that they had planned. And they were like, screw it. Like, we're doing this. This is a big thing. And he's like, you guys are over 70 and you're traveling right now. This is really stupid. And I was like, I kept sharing news with him of like, okay, this like Aspen has by population, like by percent of population, the worst outbreak in the state and like the worst outbreak outside of Washington, I think, or something like that.
Oh yeah, Seattle has it real bad, yeah.
Yeah, but and nothing he sent them was like having any effect on them. So for their sake, I'm glad that it all got canceled.
As a matter of fact, kind of related to that, the Colorado, like whatever Department of Health and Safety, I can't remember what it is, but they issued a thing that said if you have been in Eagle County, which is Aspen,
right,
Summit, Pitkin, and something else, there was like 4 counties.
Route?
I don't think it was Route. Eagle, Summit, Pitkin, and Gunnison.
Gunnison, okay.
Those 4 counties, if you are a Colorado resident and you've been there, they think you should sequester for 14 days. If you're not a Colorado resident, they're like, monitor your conditions, which I thought was an interesting, like, you're out of our state now. We don't give a shit. If you're in Colorado, please sit tight. We don't want to spread this anymore.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that was Megan. Megan just a couple days ago had lunch she'd went up on a hut trip with some of her friends, and then on their way back they stopped in Dillon and had Chimayo, because anytime we're up there we're like, fuck yeah, fish tacos. But now like she's part of that list where they're like, you should sit this one out.
But she's also a nurse.
Oh yeah, she can't not work.
Right.
So her hospital announced,
are they testing?
Yeah, so her hospital now, so starting today, I haven't got a chance. She just got home while we were recording, 5
minutes ago.
She found out yesterday that when she went in today, they were starting Sunday today, they were going to be taking everyone who entered the hospital's temperatures. Mm-hmm. And if you had a fever and one other symptom, you would not be allowed in the hospital. Yep. And if you were an employee, you would have to go get tested. The hospital would cover 4 days' pay while you're getting tested and awaiting your results. And then if you did have COVID, then they're going to give you short-term disability.
Nice.
They also informed all of the ICU nurses, which is her, to prepare for mandatory overtime. Yeah. They're like, it's coming.
Oh, I'm
just
sure.
Be ready.
Yeah. My Rebecca also works in a hospital. She works at the VA. Her population that she works with are all, like, she works in dementia care, so they're all like minimum age is about 60.
Megan's on the neurocritical care floor. It's all either old people or young people who got drunk and hit their heads really, really hard.
I'm sure.
So like 2 weeks ago, she talked to her boss and like, we should have some kind of plan for moving all of our appointments to video. Because like, dementia care, there's not really anything you can do for the patients themselves. It's more talking to the caretakers and like coaching them and giving them resources. So like, you don't actually need to come into the hospital. So her boss was like, yeah, sure. If you take a little bit of time and see if you can come up with a plan to like do that. And then this past week, the day after she turned it into her boss, like her boss's boss's boss said, so all appointments that can move to video are moving to video, and we have this nice plan here that we're going to be using. And this is one of the many reasons I think Rebecca needs a promotion, but yeah, it's the VA. But anyway, yeah, it's going to be an interesting time. One last little story to share about this whole, how things have been going under the new virus. So last Christmas, a couple months ago, 3 months ago now, we were in Kansas City with my wife's family, and we all went to Costco with my mother-in-law's Costco card. She's the only one that's actually a member, and like Rebecca was like, great, they have the really good toilet paper. Let's just like buy a huge thing of toilet paper. And I'm like, we're not even halfway through the one we have at home. Like, why do we need a whole huge giant thing of toilet paper now? But I don't have to panic because we've got a year's worth of toilet paper now that we pre-supplied like 3 months ago. So yeah.
See, like Megan and I usually buy in bulk just because like the savings, the cost savings, and it's like, why not? We'll just store a bunch of it, and then we can then we don't have to worry. We can have like we got like one of the things in the toilet that holds like 4 rolls, and then the one that's using, So we can like fill those up in both bathrooms, and then we can have like one in each car for like blowing our nose, or like when we're out camping, we can have them all over the fucking place, which is what saved us.
Right.
Because our general rule of thumb is when those little holders in the bathroom, whenever either one of them gets down to like one roll, then we're like, all right, it's time to buy more. And like that happened like basically right as it was like people are making mad runs on toilet paper, and I was like,
I don't understand
shit.
why, because it's not.
I don't know
diarrhea
what
is not a
triggered it.
thing.
Like I don't know what triggered that, because it was the for a while that was the only thing that really people made a run on.
Right.
Was toilet paper, and I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So
They don't want to be out of toilet paper.
I mean, yeah, but you don't need 2 years worth of supply.
right. Like we went through the house and the cars and stuff. Like, all right, where have all these ones we let scatter go? And then consolidate, and we're like, all right, we got like
You're not
5
going camping
jumbo
anytime
rolls.
soon, probably. So,
Well, I mean, we can get away from some people out there, so who knows? And now that we can't go skiing,
right?
We'll see. So, yeah, it's crazy. We'll see how the next couple of weeks play out here.
Yeah.
I think we haven't fully settled on anything yet. I'm going to talk to Megan and see what her plans are or anything. But since Wednesday game night will not be happening, we might, while game night's canceled, we here at the Mile High Game Guys, to aid you as you're social distancing yourself, we might start streaming twice a week here in the studio.
Whoa.
And also to make sure that we have at least some game that we've played.
Also, so we have something to talk about when we do the podcast. Yeah.
Have you? I know you've talked about doing Welcome to as a like just everybody come
Big
in.
group one.
Yeah,
we haven't done it yet.
this would be a good
Might
time
be
to
a
do
good
it.
time to set something like that up for one of these streams. Yeah. But yeah, so if you're locked in your homes, like Ofer before, he had said like, oh, I can't watch. I don't remember if it was the Sunday or the Friday stream, but he's like, I can't watch that because I have to go to the gym. Well, Ofer, I heard your gym just closed.
Yeah.
So what's your new excuse going to be, buddy?
Walk the dog.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the only time I can go, man.
Yeah.
Other times there's too many people.
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll announce like a little bit more detail. I don't know if we'll start this Wednesday, but if game night's closed down for a while, we'll start doing Wednesday streams, assuming none of us get COVID and none of our friends get COVID.
Right.
We'll try
Might just be you and Megan.
Might just be me and Megan. And Megan will be working 12 on, 12 off, 12 on, 12 off. So she'll probably...
Might just be you and Jester.
Might just be me rolling some solo gaming. In which case I might, try and stream some PC games or something and then just bullshit with fans of the show. I don't know. We'll figure something out. We'll try and keep you guys entertained through this.
I mean, this is where like Welcome to or a bunch like any of the roll and writes would,
Exactly. Things that people can kind of play together.
Yeah.
Oh, Wes is like a couple blocks north of me. He says he's working from home. He'll come play games.
Nice.
So.
I will also be working from home. If it gets to that point, I'll probably be working from home too. We'll see. Yeah.
I'm surprised my company hasn't just shut down yet. Although one of our machines, like we've been running a 30-year-old machine like fucking crazy because we make like blood bags and stuff.
Oh,
and China's been buying a shit ton of blood bags that they hadn't been buying lately.
Yeah.
So I think they're trying to squeak stuff out. But we also have a big plant in Italy that makes parts for one of the things we make here, and we're running out of those parts because Italy has not been making those parts.
Yeah.
So eventually we might have to shut down just because we don't. We're a global
it.
supply chain, and with a lot of these things happening, like global supply chains are starting to slowly collapse.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
we'll see.
We'll see.
At least with Megan working so much overtime, we'll probably make more money with me
Right.
not working and her working overtime. But that's good for me. That's not good for her.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
She's not gonna love that.
You just look at it like it makes financial sense.
Well, we've already joked that if that happens, my new full-time job will be making sure that her 12 hours off are as perfect as they can be.
Oh yeah, definitely.
How good of a masseuse are you?
Spotless. I'm pretty good. I got rock climber hands. Spotless house. Fed dog, fresh cooked. Dinner when she gets home, breakfast when she wakes up, like just all out. So we'll see. Any banter or fun stuff in your lives that is not COVID related?
I've been building a PC. I finally got my stuff. I went to Micro Center the other day and bought the case and the power supply and then some SSD, like the new SSDs, which are super small and just clip directly into the motherboard. But I've been doing that off and on this weekend. I haven't spent a lot of time on it, but also it took me a lot longer to put my CPU cooler on than I was expecting. And I at some point I was like, okay, obviously this just isn't compatible, even though it says it is. I need to go buy a different one. Let me just look online to see why. And people are like, no, it fits. You just have to really apply a lot of pressure when you're putting it. And I'm like, I do not like doing that when I'm building something with a lot of delicate electronics. Of just like, you just really got to hold and just push it down.
Yeah. Oof.
Just
I
get
hate
out that
shit like
hammer.
Yeah.
And,
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, no, I've just been doing that, and I got everything in there except my video card, which is in my current computer. Which once I've got all the plugs and all that stuff connected, then I will transition that over along with the other SSD drive I have in there.
nice.
Okay.
But, yeah, and then I'll be buying a new video card at some point because I want to use this to actually play VR.
Okay.
Ooh.
Like to actually stream it, because I have the Oculus Quest right now, which is standalone, but you can get a USB-C or USB-C cable and connect it to your computer and do Oculus Link and be able to actually stream games from there. So,
Nice.
and like Half-Life Alyx, because I really want to play that. So that comes out in a couple weeks, I think.
Right on. I did forget one other thing I had been playing. I DM'd one more session for our D&D group last Monday. Like, so we drove back from our camping trip and got to our house here at 5:30, quick fed the dog, quick unpacked the car, quick loaded up the D&D stuff, and then got back over there for D&D at 6:30. Nothing really, it wasn't a super like exciting session, but we are now on a temporary hiatus because just today, Sunday, as we're recording, one of my players two of my players, but one of the two had the baby, but two of them had a baby together.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So one of them went through the experience of having a baby. The other one, now has a baby.
Yeah.
But
One
yeah,
of them had it and one of them acquired a baby.
Yes. So they're excited about that. And we'll see again, crazy things happening in the world.
Yeah.
But give it a couple weeks. But
At least the baby's going to be fine.
yeah. And thankfully they both have good insurance and things like that. So like she already was going to have a good amount of maternal leave. And then so she was like, well, I'm going to have a bunch of time off. So actually, like, as long as you guys don't mind me occasionally having to get up to feed or change a baby, like I'm still down to play D&D.
Nice.
So we might still get a little bit of getting together.
Are you guys still doing MHDD?
Yeah, no plans to change MHDD currently. So MHDD will be going, actually we'll have streamed yesterday for people listening to the podcast. We will be streaming this upcoming Tuesday for people watching the stream.
Nice.
My first time back on since I missed last episode.
You got to tell me if Leander had you shitting fortune eggs.
He did not.
God damn it.
I watched the whole episode. No fortune eggs.
I sent him a message in Slack, but I guess he didn't have it on.
Well, so Allison kind of ruined it early in the episode. Her character, because like there was like a little bit of a like, oh, we found this like, document that exposes this conspiracy, and like they're gonna go after the artifact that most of us are like busy guarding, but we're so far away from the artifact right now. And Allison's character was like, well, Aethon can fly. How about he flies back to warn them? And everybody was like, oh, that's a great idea. Aethon, fly away. And I wasn't there. So Leander was like, and so he takes the note and he flies away. And then he messaged me later and was like, all right, so while you were away, here's all the things that happened to you, which I can't talk about yet. But we'll find out on Tuesday.
Just tell me.
No.
It's fine.
We'll find out yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
Time continuum paradoxes. We're fighting with timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly stuff.
But
I don't watch, so I don't know the actual phrase.
Is it logically consistent? Timey-wimey shit.
My bird can fly real fast.
Okay. All right.
So, yeah, so we'll pick that up on Tuesday, and I think I'll be meeting back up with the group. I think
Nice.
the way the timelines work out, I don't think we'll be splitting.
Good.
Like, okay, you guys are doing this. All right. Meanwhile, Adrian, what are you doing? Yeah, so we'll see.
Meanwhile, in the past.
Yeah. That's it for me for banter.
So-
Nothing else exciting.
You asked for non-COVID stuff. Rebecca and I have been building shelves for our bedside tables, replacing our bedside tables with shelving units
Nice.
that are going to match the headboard we built last year.
Oh,
So,
cool.
Nice cherry stain. And so we've just finished the shellacking today, and hopefully sometime this week we'll actually get them installed, get the brackets up. So yeah, that's been the big project. Like suddenly we have a bunch more time than we thought we were going to have, and
Right.
so.
I did forget one more thing.
Oh my goodness.
I know, I'm sorry. I'm going to blast through this real quick because I don't want to go all night, especially now that Megan just got home. But but I can't not talk about it a little bit, especially because it might be the last time I get to talk about this particular activity for the year. Well, until the winter. Next winter.
Snowboarding?
Yeah. The whole reason I missed last episode is because I went fucking snowboarding. So Megan, for my birthday, took me to Silverton, which I had a great 35th birthday. Thanks, everybody, for asking. And thanks to people who actually did wish me happy birthday. So Megan surprised me, big air quotes. She was like, I think I have a good surprise for your birthday. And I was like, what is it? And she's like, I can't tell you, but you can guess. And I was like, heliskiing. And she was like, what the fuck? I was like, ha! And she was like, how did you, what? Because she was not ready to have to bullshit through me guessing correctly at all.
Yeah.
But so she took me heliskiing. So there's a mountain in Colorado, Silverton, that specializes in heliskiing and backcountry.
That is skiing from a helicopter, not like hella skiing.
Yes.
Just
Northern California.
There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she took me heli skiing.
There you go.
Which, God, I hate having to emphasize that. It's a helicopter.
Yep.
So it's heliskiing. Anyhow, and it's actually snowboarding for me, not skiing. But it was a bunch of fun. We did 2 days of it. We did 2 helicopter runs. Their whole thing is like you can pay for individual runs instead of having to like book the whole helicopter for the day. So instead of it being like several $1,000s, it's like $160 a lift, like a ride.
Per person?
Per person for the chopper. So it's still expensive. Don't get me wrong. But we came under budget so much for Japan, as I talked about previously. We just rolled all of that into a long weekend.
Nice.
We got a cool Airbnb that was dog friendly, so Jester got to come with us, which she loved. She always likes getting into the mountains and getting to play in snow and stuff. Silverton's a cool little town. It's fucking tiny.
Yeah.
And yeah, had a great time. Lots of fun snowboarding. Megan snapped her board in half. Which was really just because she hadn't cared for a bit of damage from like 3 years ago that slowly just rotted the wood core and made it very... Luckily, it didn't break. We don't think it broke until like literally the very end of a run as she was pulling up to the bus. So like it didn't cause any problems, and then she just rented a new one. And yeah, so possibly our last snowboarding experience of the season, depending on how things play out. But if it is the last one, damn, we went out on a high note.
Yeah.
So it was great. And we definitely are going to be getting more and more into backcountry snowboarding. Like,
awesome.
We super love it.
And you got a core shot on yours.
I did get a core shot.
Is that going to be something that can be repaired?
Yes.
Or? Okay.
Yeah, it's a fairly straightforward repair. They're fairly common. So for those of you who aren't snowboarders and don't really know, a core shot basically like...
Me.
Yeah, so
same here.
A board, your snowboard, like the main core of the board is usually some kind of a wood, and then it's got like a laminate top, and then it's got a P-Tex bottom that's either sintered or extruded, and there's all kinds of differences there. So a core shot is just when like a rock or something, like you go over rocks and sticks and shit all the time, and so you get little nicks and bumps, and normally you can clean those up pretty easy. Like either they're not a big deal, or if they are, you can just do a base grind and take just a thin layer of that base off. A core shot is when one of those goes deep enough that it goes all the way through the thick layer of P-Tex on the bottom and gets to that wood core.
Gotcha.
And the problem with those, if you don't get them fixed, is it lets moisture get into that wood, and then it can rot the wood
Is that
on
what
the
happened to
inside. And
Megan's?
that's more or less, Megan's damage was on the top of her board, which is why she was like, oh, I don't need to worry about it. And I was like, I don't know.
Well,
and then
now she doesn't have an excuse. She has to get a new board now,
which she's wanted for a while, and she kept being like, because she is so damn frugal, she kept being like, I really want a new board, but I have this perfectly good board. Well, now that's gone, so she gets a new board. So, yeah, it was a great time. I'm not going to dwell on it because I am trying to get through this episode, and I know, Andrew, you got to get back home to your wife too. So
she'll appreciate it.
Yeah. So that's going to be it for banter, I think.
Yes.
So we're going to wrap that up. There is no Bloody Minute because there is no Jeff and there is no Ant on the show. So, nothing there.
A shame.
I know. And Zach, you had already previously talked about your last...
the last Kingdom Death we talked about last week. So, yeah.
So that moves us on to some news and Kickstarter that we're going to run through here because there is a little bit of that. So first up in news... we got more Asmodee crazy news. So Asmodee continues to be a huge conglomerate that does huge conglomerate things like raise prices and change distributor membership, methods and things. Yeah. So they're apparently now going to sell directly to all retail channels. They are going to be ending their distribution agreement with Alliance Game Distributors and moving to ACD distribution. They also signed deals with Exploding Kittens for their entire line of things like Exploding Kittens, Bears vs. Babies, and Throw Burrito. So that's probably going to bring them a bunch of money because those things sell like hotcakes. And then they also...
Philistines. You're all Philistines.
Yeah. They also signed exclusive distribution agreements with Mantic Games for Hellboy, the board game, and all of its expansions. They will non-exclusively stock their terrain crate, which is pre-assembled plastic scenery. And then they also announced price increases on 27 different titles in their library. So include things like Catan, Pandemic, Ticket to Ride, Arkham Horror, the card game, and Dixit.
Most of these are just a like $5 increase in price, but it still is,
Yes.
annoying.
Yeah.
And then you've got
and
inflation
still happens, but
yes, but like Pandemic Legacy Season 1 went from $70 to $80 MSRP.
it should be going down. Who's still buying it?
I know, right? Legion
No
core
idea.
set went from 90 to 100, and I also like Splendor is like 45 now, and I know that they have tried to set the most amount that they can, like a store can discount, like the MAP. I remember,
Yeah, minimum advertised price.
So it's another annoying thing that they're doing because, like you said, they can.
Yeah, they're a conglomerate that does conglomerate things.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, price increases on some basic Asmodee stuff and some new distribution deals. Moving on, next in news, Capstone Games is going to be bringing Stick'em here to the U.S. So it's a trick-taking game where you're choosing pain colors from the cards in your hand. If you win, you get negative. You've talked about this because it's a different title.
It was German. It was like Stickelum or something like that. I don't remember the specific name, but it was the game that Paul played. It's about trick-taking games where you don't want to get any of the cards.
Right.
Well, actually, you do want to get cards, but everybody has a trump suit, or everybody has a suit that they don't want at the beginning of each round, and then you want to get cards that aren't that suit. That gives you positive points, negative points from getting stuck with your negative suit. But it's a very interesting trick-taking game because of how it just like how Trump works in this one. So that every other card other than the one that gets played in the beginning is Trump.
Yeah, like anytime you throw off, you're trumping.
Exactly.
Which is kind of a weird
concept. It's really hard to throw off because if you throw off too high, then everybody's like, oh, Adrian, like you throw a 13, everyone's like, oh, Adrian's going to get this, so let's throw a bunch of our like 10 through 12 cards of that match his negative suit, and you can get really fucked if you aren't paying attention.
Yeah.
So I know people have been wanting, there were people on Slack that have been wanting this to come out in the US for a while.
Yeah, apparently Nick's known about it for a while and couldn't actually say anything, but he's very excited about it.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, but it's a lot of fun, and it's definitely, it's a real small thing, 3 to 6 players, plays in about 20 minutes. I don't know about that, because it felt like when unless they changed how the rules work for end-game scoring, because that one was like playing the first to 100 or 10 rounds, and I felt like we played like 3 rounds in about 20 minutes. So I don't know if they made some changes on that, but it's definitely, it was real fun, especially for a $15 price point. So
definitely want to try it, and if it's good, maybe I'll pick it up. Although I tend to not pick up small box card games now anymore for some reason. Like I still don't have the mind or the game, and I should, but
well, I mean, you only need to get one.
Right. So last up on news, Arkham Horror has a new expansion announced for it. Arkham Horror 3rd edition.
Yes.
It's not like they're going to release a 2nd edition expansion.
No, I mean for the card game.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
But then I would say Arkham Horror card game.
Well, you know what?
Or Arkham Horror TCG.
They need more different names.
Or LCG.
Yeah.
Or
well, they had different names, but then they decided to keep going back to this one.
Yes. Anyhow, this is
they
the
need different themes.
Under Dark Waves expansion.
There are other people can do other things. Let Fantasy Flight just stick with the Cthulhu stuff.
Anyway, this new expansion is Under Dark Waves, and it is a large box expansion where you're going to be going beyond Arkham to other ill-fated towns in Massachusetts. 2 new double-sided tiles bring you Kingsport and Innsmouth, and new mystery spaces that let you travel beyond the borders to locations like Devil's Reef and Strange High House. 8 new investigators, including Ashcan Pete and Stella Clark, and over 150 encounter and event cards alongside new assets, monsters, conditions, and the terror mechanic. So a whole bunch of stuff, which seems like what people really wanted for Arkham Horror 3rd Edition was, more stuff. Because like, as is always the case with Arkham and Eldritch games, like the base games are good, but sometimes some of those decks are a little thin, and you just want a little extra.
So the first expansion for this game was basically that we feel like we don't have enough cards to get enough variety in this game for multiple plays. So that really helped, and so now this is, especially with the new tokens or the new tiles that can be connected, and then you said two
new double-sided tiles,
4 new scenarios. Sorry, that's what I was looking for. So 4 new scenarios. So the base game came with 4. The first expansion came with 2, and so because this is a big box, it's 4. So it's always like, I'm pretty sure they're going to keep doing the small box, big box, small box, big box.
Yeah, they've done that with other properties.
That's what they did with Mansions. That's what they did with Eldritch. So I'm definitely want more of this game, and I'm glad that they're adding 8 new investigators, a lot of new scenarios, a lot more cards, new ways to interact with certain things, which is cool. It's going to be a second box because I can't fit everything I have. I barely can fit everything I have right now. Adding a whole big box worth of stuff is going to move it to 2 boxes. Yeah. So that's what I had to do with Eldritch. That's what
Mansions is. 3 boxes right now?
Mansions is 3 boxes right now. Eldritch is 3 boxes right now.
Yeah.
I knew it was an inevitability, right? But I'm glad that more stuff's coming. I would have assumed that it would have been released at Gen Con. Who knows what is going to happen if Gen Con doesn't actually happen? But I want it. I want this. So
I'm sure you do.
Can you just tell him that I want it, Adrian?
Hey guys, Zach wants it.
No, I need you to tell Fantasy Flight.
Okay, I'll email them.
Thank you.
I think we have an email for him.
fantasyflight@fantasyflight.com.
Sure.
I'm assuming that's going to be work.
I really, at some point in my life, want to have a soundboard that is Wes reading all of the headlines from the Arkham Horror series in his old-timey radio voice.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the ones I show here in this little image, the cattle cowed by coyotes. I really want to hear Wes. He puts on a good old-time radio voice. So, yeah.
Also, I think they're adding a new character into the mythos in this one too.
Yeah. So a whole bunch of stuff. There's more information in the link that we're not going to get into right now, but you can find the link to that in the post over on our website, milehighgameguys.com. So, so that wraps up news, and we can move on to some Kickstarters. First up in Kickstarters is the Pax Pamir reprint for 2nd edition of Pax Pamir. Super well funded, 232,000. Sorry, you actually have the numbers written down, and I don't remember how they go, so you take over.
Yeah. It is super well funded, like you said, 232,000 out of its 10,000 funding goal. There's about 4,200 backers, with the most popular pledge being about $70, which is $10 more than the first printing was.
Yes.
And there are about 8 days left.
Indeed. So pretty straightforward. This is a reprint of the 2nd edition of Pax Pamir that Cole Worley had kind of redesigned and released sometime last year. I don't remember for sure when it went down. But it was really popular, and it got more popular after it actually came out. And Cole Worley continues to be incredibly popular as Root does better and better and better. And so there's a lot of demand for more Pax Pamir, I guess.
Is that how you pronounce his name?
Cole Worley?
I thought it was Whirl.
I guess I don't think I've ever actually heard anybody say it.
Yeah, I don't know if I have either. It might have just been my own whatever. Maybe somebody will speak up in the chat. May probably knows.
May says I think Adrian is right.
Oh.
Ofer says Adrian is right.
That's. I bet that was hard to say. Ofer, I bet that was real hard to say. Yep, there it is.
Love it. Oh, gotta cause Ofer. Ofer already caused me pain with the 20-minute Wi-Fi delay. Yeah. So, anyhow, for those of you who don't know, in the game of Pax Pamir, you are different Afghan political factions who are basically making alliances with either the Russians, the British, or the local Afghani government, trying to kind of bend them to your will. and it's a whole bunch of like shifting allegiances and things. So like you might be with the British for a while, and then it's like all of a sudden I think it's going to be better to be with the Russians, and you just switch and get support from the Russians. And beautiful cloth map, really nice resin tokens that go on the board that double as either like bridges or military units. And I've only played it the one time at game night, which was not the right time, and I didn't hate it. It wasn't like Gugong, where I was fuck that.
Both of you guys are like
we're
that.
in that same game. So it wasn't like that. It was just like, I don't know. I've got it sitting in there on my shelf. I definitely want to dig into it. But yeah, so new edition on Kickstarter now with all of its fancy bits and pieces like normal. Regarding that $10 price increase that Zach mentioned, Cole does have a blog post up, and I think it might even be addressed in the updates or the FAQ, where he talks about why they had to increase it. Like basically, they either barely made money or maybe barely didn't make back money on the first one. Like they misread the demand, and some of their estimates were off, and so they're like, yeah, we gotta bump it to $10 to keep it feasible.
Yeah, which makes sense, but also, so what feels weird to me is that if you look on the add-on, you can add on another copy of this game. It says Pax Pamir additional copy, $70 MSRP, $85, right?
Yes.
So that's hey, you're saving $15, but if you look at the top of the thing, it says that this is not getting a traditional retail release. So I'm assuming it's a very limited retail, but it feels weird to just be like, we're not really just going to release this to retail, but if we did, here's how much it would cost.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But everybody does. Everybody always throws an MSRP on there.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying you probably can't really get this in most retail things after this, unless I'm assuming.
And let's be fair.
Yeah.
MSRP doesn't stand for retail price. It stands for manufacturer's suggested retail price. So the manufacturer's like, hey, we think you should sell it for this much. And they're like, hey, we're going to only do it for this much because we like you, the customer. And
no,
so
I understand.
we're your friend.
No, I get that.
Because that's how capitalism works.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Should we talk economic theory for a while? Let's talk economic theory.
I'm very much a Keynesian, and the Fed is being real stupid slashing rates right now. So should wait a little bit till after the virus to slash rates.
Yeah.
But,
unfortunately, we don't make economic policy here on the Mile High Game Guys. Otherwise, things would be very different in this country.
For
better or for worse?
For better or for worse, they would be different.
Yes.
But yeah, so if you'd been wanting to get a hold of Pax Pamir, you can do so through the Kickstarter there. Yeah, like Zach said, about a week left to go. So, yeah. Moving on from Pax Pamir over to our final Kickstarter of the evening, 18 Holes strategy board game.
So this is well funded, about 9.3 thousand of its 7.7 thousand goal when it's converted into U.S. money. It's got 199 backers, and it's got about 20 days left, so you got some time. And the most popular pledge is about $47 to get you the base game.
Yep. So 18 holes. For those of you who don't know golf terms, that's the number of holes you play in a game, a full game of golf. So it's a golf game.
Is this or is this not the first game to start with the word 18 and not be about trains?
No, there's got to be something else.
Drinking, maybe voting. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm gonna say yes, just to feel like it's a dig against train games.
Yeah,
sure. So in 18 holes, you're actually going to build and design a full 18 hole or however many holes you decide to play for the game golf course. Then you're going to draft clubs and then compete to win the different holes. And you play just like a normal game of golf. You start at hole 1 and you play that one out, and then you move 2 and 3 and 4, so on and so forth.
You're blowing my mind here, man.
I know, right? So the way the game basically works, like I said, you draft for those clubs, and they have kind of a standard set of clubs.
And those are the only clubs you get the entire game. So,
Yes.
just don't be like, I want 5 drivers.
So you build the map first, so you'll at least get to see what the course looks like before you try and decide which clubs you want. But basically, you're drafting pitching 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 club. And as you play the clubs, they'll basically each of the tiles has like smaller hexes on them, which on the Kickstarter is hard to fucking see. But you'll play a card, so like one of your clubs, like your 5 wood, might say something on it like move 3 hexes in any direction, and so you can move your person like 3 hexes in any direction, and you're trying to move from the tee down to the hole, just like in golf. And then there's different things that if there's hazards that can affect how your different clubs swing and things like that. And then you get points as you get to the different holes, and you play the whole course, and then whoever has the most points, the fewest points, they don't really talk about how you score points.
It's golf. It's got to be fewest points.
But it's first to the green, so I think you kind of like, and looking at one of the maps they had, there's like 1 and 2 tokens, like first, I think it's like a first and second to the hole, and there's some conversion for points or something.
Oh, well, that's lame. The first player to reach the green scores a victory point. The player with the most points win. This feels so counterintuitive to golf.
I know.
This is making me annoyed.
I know. It really should have been the first person there is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, depending on how many players. Like I don't know, like N+1 or whatever for whatever time you get to the hole. So that way you could be 4th on one hole and then still win later. But if it's just always you get 1 point when you're first to a hole, then it doesn't have the dramatic changes of golf.
Right. No.
Where it's like, my short game is awesome, but your long game is awesome. Let's see who can actually do better.
Which matters more.
Yeah.
Mike Jones did point out 1812, The Invasion of Canada, is a game that starts with 18 and is not about trains.
I knew there had to be some.
Sure. Did you know it was about the invasion of Canada during the War of 1812?
No,
Yeah.
I definitely didn't. I'm sure there's more, because I think there was something that's like a Viking game, although that might have been a 17 something. Anyhow. Yeah. So one of the things they're going to do with this one that's like an add-on that you can get is like a $50 online course designer, which is bonkers to me. Like that seems like really high, and I don't know why you would need like a really fancy online course builder. Yeah, design and share your own course designs, play courses designed by other creators. $75 Australian, $49 American, free shipping because it's an online thing. So, yes.
It's good that they're not charging you $5 to email you a link.
It's free shipping to the US and Germany, reduced shipping everywhere else. So, even though the entire project's in Australian, they're apparently going to still charge the Australians a lot of.
Well, that just seems like the Australian way. So. Everything costs way too much there.
Yeah. Seems kind of interesting. Like definitely like there's other games that are like try to simulate golf in different weird ways. This seems like one of the ones that might actually be closest to the feel of playing golf aside from the scoring inaccuracies.
What was the flicking game that was like, was it Lunar Golf?
Martian Golf.
Martian Golf.
Yeah.
That was fun, but it was like not actually golf.
No, it was just ridiculously flicking discs around.
The like standard 52 card game.
Mars Open.
Okay.
Well, I was closer I got Mars part. That's what counts.
But this one that is the standard deck of 52 cards that is the game of golf is not anything like golf.
No. Other than trying to get the lowest score.
Yeah. Which is the most important part about golf.
Right.
It's just low score. That's all that matters.
Yeah. And apparently we said Martian. Whatever. Martian Golf.
I said
Mars Open. Same difference.
As in I got the planet. That's all I cared about.
You got the concept.
Yeah. He said lunar like an asshole.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
well, hey, can I so our friend Eric Legal is like an actual astrophysicist. He's a rocket scientist. He does engineering on rockets and has sent stuff into space. And I totally kicked his butt on we bet. I had said that Jupiter has over 70 moons. And he said, no, it's got like 5 moons. And so we bet $5 on whether or not it has over 10 moons. And Jupiter actually has 79 moons.
Nice.
So,
I mean, I knew that it had a lot of moons.
Yeah.
But I'm not too surprised because it's like it's the main reason why like the asteroid belt and all that stuff does.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised. How often is it just like picking up an extra moon every year?
Yeah,
or so?
probably. Maybe not every year. It's been around a lot of years.
Yes, I know.
Every millennium would still not be enough to.
Exactly. Yeah. It's been around for more than 79 years. I don't buy that.
They're Martian or they're Jovian years.
There
There you go.
Thanks, Terraforming Mars.
I really wish I could deny that, but I was immediately like, Jovian tags, Jovian. I feel like I knew it before that, but that has permanently ingrained it in my head. So that wraps up news and Kickstarters for us. So go check out those things on the website in the show notes. Links to all of them. For listener feedback, there's no Jeff, and even if there was, there's no emails.
No emails.
At milehighgameguys.com.
Exactly.
However, there were a couple new comments over on YouTube after I called out our YouTube fans. We've had a few of them. So on our video for Mile High Game Guys Ruined Time Stories Expedition Endurance,
there we go.
Miroslav comments, nice review. Did you already play Lumen Fide? And no, that is next on our list, I think, right? That's the next one?
Yes.
So
are you and Megan actually wanting to continue playing that?
yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's just a matter of time.
Okay. Well, all right. Time being the key word.
Yeah,
So I'm just
finding the time.
I'm just saying.
Time.
All I'm saying is that you know what happened with David and Bob
THYME.
in our
Whoa.
pandemic game. We waited long enough.
Hey now.
I'm just saying.
There's been very little coordination on any side for these.
We also didn't really talk to them for 2 years about it, but we still cut them out. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, well-
just keep that in mind, okay?
Gotta make sure. Did you steal your copies back yet, or are they still down
they're
there?
down here.
Okay,
They're down
good,
there.
Good.
Maybe I give them to Kaiser for some nice, keep them warm. Who knows? I'm just saying. Just saying.
Keep them in my bed.
Yeah.
Just nice warming up.
Yep.
Gross. But yeah, so no, we haven't played Lumen Fide, but it is next up on the Time Stories list. So, and then Paulo himself over in Paulo's Corner on episode 182, Too Scary, says, news update. LieriaCon was indeed postponed due to the coronavirus. Now it will be near the end of May. Frowny face, which probably means it's not going to happen then either.
Yeah.
But it's good that you didn't try and plan to go to that then.
Also
Yes.
true. Also, I found out, slight aside, my work's short-term disability policy requires you to burn all your PTO before you can use short-term disability.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah, which really sucks. But makes me really goddamn glad that I burned all my PTO going to Japan and going skiing right before all this broke. So I've got about 10 hours of PTO, and I think you were allowed to save 24 hours of PTO before going to short term. So I'll be able to short term. If they shut down, I'll just be able to, or if I get sick, I'll be able to go right into short term. I don't think I can use my short term disability for the company shutting down. It's a disability for my wallet, man.
Yeah.
I mean, your company, I don't know much about it, but if they don't pay you through a shutdown, fuck them.
I would be shocked if they don't, honestly.
Right.
That is a really fucked up policy, Ofer, and I was shocked to find out about it. I don't know if they'll actually like implement that in this situation. Apparently it's part of, I don't know, one of my coworkers was pulling it up and he found it in some other weird thing where it was like tied into some other like Family Medical Leave Act or something that also has a similar provision that like, before you trigger that, like you have to exhaust basically all other options. And so I don't know. I could easily see them being just like, go home, we're going to pay you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they've already implemented work from home for all non-manufacturing personnel. So like my coworker who I DM for, she's in that D&D group. She's been work from home for like a week and a half already.
Good.
I'm like, I want to be work from home, but
You
But
can't really do
your job is physically impossible
Really.
to do from here.
it turns out it's really hard to do maintenance from my couch. I mean, there's surgeons who do surgery remotely with robots. Give me a cool robot and I'll go around and I'll do maintenance with a robot from my couch.
What you need to do is you need to make those robots to do that.
Shit, yeah, man. And then I won't even need to work from my
Exactly.
couch. Other people work from their couches with my robot.
Exactly.
There's a machine to let authors sign books from remote
Oh
distances.
my God.
Margaret Atwood invented it.
Really?
Yeah. So she can claim like not only best-selling author and like now has
Numerous
a
other accolades.
a hit television show to her name, but also inventor.
I would never like go through the trouble like a book signing event.
Yeah.
If the author wasn't even there, it was just a robot arm and they're up there.
I think there's also like a video screen so you can talk to them or something like that. But
maybe better.
So like, but it's actually like they can still do a personalized thing.
Yeah.
So
Cool. Right on. I think that is it for listener feedback as well.
That is correct.
Not going to go through our whole list of contact stuff. We're going to just kind of close things up here a little bit. But we do, as always, want to thank our sponsors, Gray Fox Games, for their continued sponsoring of the show. Their latest game, Zoned Out, is now delivering to backers and is available to order on their website. So Zoned Out is a game about building up residential zoning. I love how board games take some of the driest subject matter of all time and turn them into like board games.
Yeah.
Like, hey, if you wanted to play a game about residential zoning, I love that one of my favorite games is about quantitative easing.
Oh yeah.
So
gonna get a bunch more of that.
Yeah,
That's
right?
thematic too now.
Oh. Damn.
Womp.
But yeah, Zach, are you filling in for Jeff with a prepared statement?
No.
So just Gray Fox Games, quality games, cleverly crafted. Go check them out at grayfoxgames.com, where you can order a whole bunch of their games, including some of their others like Reavers, the newest one, Reavers of Midgard.
Yes.
Yeah, Champions was the old one. Haha. This is my brain on 2 very long 12-hour shifts.
Yeah. And a little bit of beer.
Not much though. I've actually been cutting back. I had
good.
been going through like
3 of those.
2 to 3 of these, and now this is even the Easy Jack that is a low alcohol IPA.
Oh.
So I'm slowly tapering down to my no booze April.
Good.
Because
Meanwhile,
go ahead.
I have not quite killed off your whiskey here. So
Nice.
I tried to save a little bit more for you.
I mean, I don't really drink whiskey, so it's fine.
I tried to save a little bit more for future me.
Yeah.
There you go. That's really who you're saving it for. In addition to thanking our awesome sponsors, we would like to take a second to thank all of our patrons over on Patreon, including our newest patron, who I think is actually a returning patron.
Yes.
Noland is back
good.
on the Patreon train.
Welcome back.
So
I
thanks,
think
Noland.
He's
We
come back
appreciate
to
that.
Slack recently too.
Yeah.
So welcome back.
That was a good moment.
Yes. One of the behind the scenes that people got to see was at the end of the episode. Like I usually leave the stream running for a bit after we shut the episode down, and somebody got to see Zach be like, I mean, I edited for you not too long ago, and like I just got all this other things going on. I think you were sick or something.
Or
You
I had to go
something.
somewhere or something like that. And I was just like, I don't have time. But I know I did it when you asked me to. So I'll just do it now in front of an audience to really just sort of
Twist the knife
and make,
It was great. So that does wrap everything up, though. So we're going to get off of here so I can go see my girlfriend. And so Andrew can get home to his wife. And Zach can go play video games or something. I don't know what you're going to do tonight, Zach.
Great.
Sorry, buddy. I got like halfway into that and I was like, oh no, I don't know where to go with this. But thanks everybody for watching. Thank you, Andrew, for filling in for
Absolutely.
Jeff.
Yes,
Happy to
thank
be
you.
here.
Always happy to have the hater on, even if it didn't come with a history lesson.
No,
we didn't give
I'm
you
sorry.
enough warning to prepare a history
Here you
lesson.
go. Here's something I just recently learned. The word quarantine,
Ooh,
apropos of
relevant.
nothing in particular. The word quarantine is from the Italian for 40 because that is the number of days they would make a ship just sort of sit in port before they let them come in, to prove that they didn't have the plague on the ship. So
I mean that tracks.
Yeah.
Like 40 days is about the right amount of time to be like, if you've got something, you all gonna be dead.
Yeah. Gotcha. I actually just saw a post or something about this, and this is a joke, by the way. But it's only called a quarantine if it actually comes from that region of France. Otherwise, it's a sparkling isolation.
Nice. On that note, we're out of here. Thanks again, everybody, for watching and for listening. As always, I've been your host, Adrian.
And I'm still Zach.
and I hate you all. I'm Andrew.
Bye.
Bye.
Where we all
Bring something
to the table.
Pull up a chair
At punchboardmedia.com.